Ah, let me tell you about a boy named Tavi. He lived in a quiet little village by the river. Now Tavi, he was as good a boy as ever walked the earth. Kind, thoughtful, and hard-working, though he had a cloud of doubt hanging over him. You see, Tavi believed that only those born with some special gift could achieve greatness, and he thought of himself as an ordinary lad with no special talents. His heart longed for music, and when he'd see the grand musicians playing on the television, he would smile but then feel a great sadness in his chest. "I'll never be like them," he'd say. "They were born with a gift, and I have nothing like that." His parents, bless them, would say, "Tavi, if you practice with all your heart, you too will shine just like them." But Tavi doubted. He doubted terribly. One day, news came to the village of a grand competition, one that would gather all the fine musicians from far and wide. Now, Tavi's best friend, a lively boy named Isha, could hardly contain his excitement. "Tavi," he cried, "you must join. You play the piano so beautifully." But Tavi, with a sigh heavy in his chest, shook his head. "No," he said softly. "I'm not good enough. I won't win." That evening, Tavi's grandfather, a wise old man with eyes like the stars, noticed the sorrow in his grandson's heart. "What troubles you, my child?" he asked. Tavi sighed deeply and said, "Grandpa, I love playing the piano, but I'm not talented enough to win. I'm just wasting my time." The old man's face softened with a smile, and he said, "Ah, my boy, let me share a tale with you that will light your path." He began his story. In days long past, in a village much like ours, there lived a blacksmith by the name of Raga. Now, Raga was neither the strongest man nor the quickest, but he had a dream that burned brighter than the forge itself. He longed to craft the finest sword ever made, but the other blacksmiths mocked him, saying, "You lack the skill, you'll never succeed." But Raga was not disheartened. Every morning as the sun rose, he would rise as well. His hands would callous and his heart would grow weary, but he would not stop. His first swords were weak and broke like dry branches, but still he did not give up. He studied, he experimented, and day by day his craft grew finer. Years passed, and Raga's hands grew steady. His swords, once brittle, became sharp as the eagle's talon. One day, the king of the land declared a grand contest to find the finest swordmaker in the kingdom. And so, Raga, with his heart full of courage, entered the fray. To the astonishment of all, he won. The king, impressed beyond measure, made Raga his royal swordsmith. The old man stopped and turned his gaze to Tavi. "Do you see, my boy? Raga was not born with talent. He forged his talent with his sweat, his hands, and his heart. And you too can do the same." Tavi sat in silence, pondering his grandfather's tale. For the first time, a light seemed to stir in his chest. "It's not about talent alone," he thought. "It's about the work you put in, the persistence, and the belief that you can succeed." The very next morning, Tavi woke with a fire in his heart. "I will not give up on this dream," he vowed. "No matter how tough the road, I will practice every day." So he rose early and dedicated his hours to the piano. His fingers stumbled at first, the music a strange and unfamiliar sound. Mistakes piled up like falling leaves in autumn, and sometimes he felt as though he could not continue. But whenever doubt crept into his heart, he would remember Raga's story and push forward. Days turned into weeks, and weeks into months. Tavi's fingers, once clumsy and unsure, began to glide more gracefully across the keys. The sound of his music, once harsh and uncertain, grew smoother and more beautiful with every passing day. His heart, once full of doubt, now swelled with confidence. At last, the day of the great competition came. Tavi stood backstage, his legs trembling like the leaves in the wind, watching others play with such ease and grace. But instead of fear, he felt something else, a quiet voice inside him saying, "I have worked hard and I will do my best." When his time came, Tavi walked onto the stage, his fingers poised over the keys. The music poured from him, every note a testament to the hard work and hours he had put in. His fingers danced across the keys, creating the most beautiful melody his heart had ever known. When Tavi finished, a deep silence hung in the air, as if the whole world had paused. And then, the silence broke like the first light of dawn, and the audience erupted into thunderous applause. Tavi, wide-eyed, could scarcely believe it. He had done it. He had played with all his heart. When the results were called out, Tavi won second place. But oh, the prize he had truly won was much greater. He had won something far more precious: self-belief. He had proven to himself that effort and persistence could turn any dream into reality. From that day on, Tavi never again doubted the power of hard work. He continued to practice, to grow, and to reach new heights in his music. He realized, as Raga did, that talent is not a gift you are born with. It is something you forge through dedication and hard work. And so, Tavi learned, as all who listen to the wind must, success is not about being born with a special gift. It is about the strength of your heart, the sweat on your brow, and the unyielding persistence to keep going when others would give up. The key to greatness is not in waiting for talent to come knocking on your door, but in beginning, in improving day by day, and in believing with all your heart that you can achieve what you set out to do.